As promised, here's the second installment of the Hextraction mini-series on my 3D printing channel. Hextraction is a physics-based board game which can only be 3D printed at the moment. In this video, we will actually be playing the game with a couple of my little nephews. I will also show you how I designed and printed the Tile-Dispenser, which proved to be a nice improvement for our second game at the end of this video. I recommend watching part 1 of the series first, where I talk more about the game itself and show you how I printed the tilted board and its stand on my Sovol SV06 Plus printer. And by the time part 3 comes out, I will be allowed to show you the mystery printer I used to print the various tiles at record speeds and high quality. The game starts with a blank board, and all 3 of us draw 3 random tiles from the covered bowl. We will upgrade this drawing system for our next game, and in this demo learning game we will be showing our tiles, which would normally be hidden from each other. According to our house rule, players count the openings on their tiles, and whoever has the most openings in total will begin the game. Each turn consists of playing a tile, rolling a marble, then drawing a tile to bring our hands to 3. So, you can place your tile in any empty slot. Player 1 placed his advanced flip-flop tile on the top of the board, making sure it is in the correct orientation. The ball he rolled fell through an empty slot, which was no surprise at this stage of the game, of course. After drawing his next tile, it was player 2's turn to place his secret tile, which turned out to swallow the marble in its dead-end opening. A tile gets destroyed when it has 3 balls stuck in it. Player 3 attempted to fix the situation by placing his mutagen effects tile, which opens up its neighbors to overwriting. The ball he rolled also ended up inside the secret tile. So, it's back to player 1. He placed the red hot tile, which causes single trapped balls to destroy tiles. No need to wait for 3 to accumulate. But the ball he rolled did not get stuck this time. Player 2's next. He played a simple J tile logically in the slot where the last ball fell. Player 3 continued the track with his zigzag tile, but then the ball he rolled on the other side got stuck in the flip-flop. According to the rules, it has to be left there. As player 1 was placing his golden DC tile, the stuck ball got loose and fell out. He actually blocked the track on purpose, completing the red hot steel balls effect. This little guy enjoys destroying tiles. Of course, when given the option, he chose to destroy the tile his playmate have placed. We collect the destroyed behind the board. Player 2 replaced the missing with a jerk tile, which would normally allow him to swap with an adjacent tile, but he chose not to be a jerk this time. Player 3 continued the curve with an 8 tile, hoping the ball will have enough momentum to take the turn, and it did, and fell through the next empty slot. Player 1 played another secret tile. Only he knows its effect. Who would have guessed? The dead end caught the red hot steel ball. If the goal of the game was to destroy the most tiles, he would be in the lead now. As player 2 is placing another advanced flip-flop, he's allowed to set the initial flipper position so the ball stays within the board. Player 3 chose to roll first and destroyed the golden DC tile, since it was the last tile the ball touched before leaving the board. We were so surprised, he even forgot to place a tile. Back to player 1. He placed the hexagon tile, but this time the red hot steel ball couldn't make it through the steep curves and destroyed the jerk tile it got stuck at. Another trophy for our little destroyer. So far, we haven't taken advantage of the mutagen tile, but now player 2 decided to overwrite the faulty secret tile next to it. The triple trap tile is designed to capture the first ball that rolls into it from each direction. Player 3 puts the clone tile on the board. If the first ball activates it, he can roll a second ball from its ramp. But as with any effects tile, he can choose not to. Player 1 places the special tile with nothing, which allows him to discard his hand and draw 3 new tiles. This time he forgot to roll a ball. Player 2 puts down a gear tile and mistakenly rotates an adjacent tile when it was placed, although the actual rule is to rotate when the ball triggers it, which it does, only the order of actions were wrong this time. Player 3 extends the track with the zigzag tile. Since the ball also triggers the clone tile, he gets a second chance to roll towards the end zone, which is now getting closer and closer. Player 1, the destroyer, will have none of it. He stops the progress with a bomb tile. Thanks to the red hot steel ball, he didn't even need to wait for 3 balls to accumulate. What joy! He can not only destroy the bomb, but its surrounding tiles as well. Poor player 2 attempts to clean up after the destruction with a basic flip-flop tile, but his marble took a wrong turn and got stuck in the other flip-flop. Player 3 adds a double trap to the track, which turns out to be short-lived thanks to the red hot steel ball on this side of the board. But before destroying it, he gets to roll another ball from the clone tile. Player 1 plays the first holo tile in this game. It gets triggered by the ball, so he can now build another tile in the empty slot the ball fell through. He built another holo tile, which was okay, but then we made a lot of mistakes. Because of the clone tile, it was okay for him to roll again, but he should have rolled from the ramp on the clone tile. Then, the ball fell through another empty slot following the holo tile. He was supposed to build his next tile there, but instead he mistakenly placed his king tile somewhere else. Then, for some reason, we allowed him to roll from the ramp of the clone tile and thus gain the ability to place yet another tile. However, he ran out of the 3 tiles he had in his hand, and this is the point where we should have stopped him, but instead he just drew 3 more tiles and placed the bomb. So, both the king tile's location and the existence of the new bomb were mistakes, but they did not change the course of the game that much. Player 3 took care of the bomb in short order. It was enough to roll a red hot steel ball into it. We forgot to also destroy the adjacent holo tile though. So, player 3 rolled his ball first, and he could still place a devil tile. Then, because his first roll triggered the clone, he was able to roll again from the clone tile, and this triggered the holo tile, so he could build a tile in the empty slot the ball fell into. Neither of his tiles fit there though, so he ended up building his basic flip-flop elsewhere. This was another mistake. We should have at least voted on it. Anyway, the game continued, so close to the finish line. Player 1 placed a pachinko tile, which let the ball out of the game board quickly. It should have been destroyed. Instead, he rolled his cloned ball through it, which got stuck this time. When we clone a red hot steel ball, is the clone going to be red hot as well? Player 3 had a very convincing argument. If we clone a person, the clone will inherit the body temperature, otherwise clones would be dead at their creation. But we ended up downvoting him. Since the cloned ball did not go through the red hot tile, it is not considered to be hot. But because of multiple mistakes in the past, that pachinko tile shouldn't have been there, of course. Anyway, player 2's turn. He rolls first. This is the second ball that is now stuck in the flip-flop. He places a red X tile. Player 3 also chose to roll before placing a tile. Rolls through the red hot tile, the clone tile, the holo tiles, then takes a turn in the devil tile, spins the flip-flop, and lands in the end zone. In short, with this roll, player 3 has just won the game. Our first filmed game took about 20 minutes in real time. Though not without mistakes, it was still a lot of fun. Drawing from a bowl was okay, though players familiar with the shapes of the tiles can feel around under the cover and pick and choose whichever tile they want. This is not how the game should go. In an attempt to randomize the drawing action, I came up with these triple tubes, where the tiles are in a pre-shuffled order similar to decks of cards. The tubes can be used both to store the tiles, about 60 of them fits in the 33 centimeter long variant, and during game they can turn into tile dispensers. The open end of the tube is slightly raised, so the tube will not lay flat on the table, and the top white cover can be slid away from the tiles a bit. Thanks to the asymmetric design of the top of the tubes, you will be able to push the top 3 tiles in the opening where they can be taken out. The tabs at the bottom help push the tiles towards the opening at the top end. Their handles on the 2 sides need to be moved parallel with each other. 3 tiles show up in the opening. Either you agree to take them in a certain order, or these 3 are for the players to pick from. It is no coincidence that the triple tubes are exactly 33 centimeters long. That's the tallest my Sovol SV06 Plus can print. Having the 0.6 millimeter nozzle, I printed this piece out of black PETG in quasi-vase mode. The tube was designed to have a single 0.6 millimeter wide wall, but by default, Cura instructed the printer to draw both halves of the shell from the same direction, causing a lot of unnecessary head movement, stringing, and even under extrusion at the start of each new section. Instead of trying to adjust the coasting and priming values, I wanted to find a setting that would make the movement of the head continuous. I finally did. Curiously enough, changing the wall ordering to outside to inside finally did the trick, even though there is only a single wall, so there is no outside or inside in this case. On tall prints like this, I also utilized the Slow Z plugin, which can gradually reduce the print speed as we get higher and higher in the print. You can install it from the marketplace. I print at full speed until 180 millimeters and then progressively go down to 50% in speed by the very top of the print. I made a couple of prototypes of the push tabs as well, adding bigger handles on the sides and a special rail in between the tubes to keep its movement straight. You can insert the tab sideways, then turn it and screw in the sliders. The top piece went through a number of design cycles as well. The final version having little openings where we can grab the tiles more easily with our fingers. You can find the link to the models of this Tile-Dispenser triple tube down in the video description. And as you check them out, please also click on the like button to help spread the word about this awesome game and the printers I used to make it. If you're interested in either the game Hextraction or 3D printing, make sure to subscribe as well. The idea is to mix up the tiles before filling the dispenser tubes. This shoebox turned out to be the perfect size to hold 3 tubes of tiles, 150 pieces, the disassembled board, the box of steel balls, and the single-page game rules with the effect tile descriptions on the back. So the tubes are perfect for storage, but in our next game we also got to test their tile dispenser functionality too. This time we had 4 players who drew their initial hand from the tubes. Again, whoever had the highest number of openings on his tiles became player 1. He placed a hexagon tile in one of the top slots. Player 2, in clockwise order, places a red hot tile. Player 3 adds a sacred tile, which seems to have a dead end at the top, so the red hot steel ball destroyed it immediately. Player 4 introduces the tile with nothing, which lets him discard all his tiles and draw 3 new ones. Back to player 1, with the zigzag tile aiming for the exit. Player 2 comes in with a jump tile, since there are no rules in the game against flying balls. Seeing the path the last ball took, player 3 decides to extend this side track with an X tile, and we can observe a jumping ball this time. And that is where player 4 will place the entrance part, the in part of his teleport tile. The rule is to put the out tile higher on the board, but this slot is problematic. Since it blocks all 3 on-ramps, it could be destroyed by the next player. One below is perfect, however. We now have 1 ball stuck in the red X tile. Round 3. Player 1 thinks about using the unreliable effect tile. Putting it next to the red hot tile could duplicate the effect of the red hot tile whenever the ball rolls on the left side. But at the end he placed a sacred tile instead. And we got to experience the teleport tile for the first time. Did you see where the sacred tile led the ball? Let me slow it down for you. Okay, player 2 plays a Newton's cradle tile, but doesn't get to see its effect. Player 3 likes the simple tracks, like this XD tile. The red X tile traps its second ball, so the next one will be let through. Player 4 places a crab tile, and through the teleport his red hot steel ball gets trapped in Newton's cradle. So we should have destroyed that tile, but we did not realize it at the time. Or we carried on the original idea that clones and teleports don't carry on the temperature of the balls. Round 4. Player 1 places a second tile with nothing for discarding his hand. Player 2 extends the left track with the slowdown tile, but his ball picks the right track this time. Player 3 comes in with the void tile, which can destroy itself if the ball falls through its hole. Player 4 gets to experience the double trap tile firsthand. All good, except the red hot steel ball should have destroyed this one as well. It seems now we decided to negate the effect of the red hot tile after the teleport. At least we are consistent. Round 5. Player 1 places the bomb in the middle. It needs to collect 3 balls before it explodes and destroys everything around it. Player 2 quickly adds the second ball to the bomb, then places a tree tile near the end zone. Player 3 takes the opportunity and adds a triple trap. Not the best choice, since it tends to trap the first ball that falls into it, but the ball did not even make it that far. It took a few more turns before we realized that the crab tile got flipped at a certain point in time, and the notch on its bottom prevented it from aligning with its neighbor. At the time, we thought player 4's roll jumped into the empty slot. The slow-mo replay reveals another story, but we did not realize at the time. So nothing was destroyed and he just built a holo tile. Round 6. Player 1's ball also gets trapped at the upside down crab tile. Player 2 ups the ante with another red hot tile and becomes the third to get trapped at the crab tile. And this is when we finally realize the problem, that the crab tile is flipped. You notice how the escaped ball got trapped in the triple trap at the bottom now? Should we have removed it? No, I think if the crab had not flipped, we would be in the same situation. It would have been trapped in there 2 turns ago. This way, the decision to have player 2 roll again was actually correct, though it did not reach the end this time. In hindsight, placing this tree tile first could have won the game for him. But now we are back to player 3, who originally got tripped by the flipped crab tile. Now he places the gear tile at the very end. Life is fair. His ball jumps over the bomb, but still gets trapped, although there is already another ball in the triple trap, just as if we were back in round 5. So player 4 knocks the loosely trapped ball as he places his secret tile and rolls past the teleport again. Round 7, player 1 plays a jerk tile, which can be swapped with any adjacent tile given he apologizes to his fellow players. So the teleport exit now moves, but his roll misses the jump again, the same as player 2's. Then he places a secret tile. Player 3 places a bomb. This time the teleport seems to work, but one of the new secret tiles leads the ball out of the board, so it needs to be destroyed. Player 4 adds a zigzag tile and misses the jump. 26 minutes into the game, it's round 8. Player 1 tries a yellow double trap tile. The first ball gets trapped as expected. Player 2 places a railroad switch tile, which, when initialized correctly, can let through your ball but block others. Let's see how well it works. He now uses the leftmost ramp to steer clear of the red hot tile, takes advantage of the slowdown tile so his ball is at the right speed as it reaches the jump tile, and makes a perfect landing in the teleport entrance. The ball leaves the teleport exit, passes through the secret tile, taking the turn in the already occupied double trap, crosses the tree tile, the holo tile, the gear tile, breaking the tape to the end zone and winning the game after 8 rounds, 30 placed tiles in 30 minutes. What a game! Congratulations, player 2. Conclusion: Hextraction passed the playtest with flying colors. It provides 20 to 30 minutes of fun gameplay for 3 to 4 players, for kids and adults alike. The Tile-Dispenser also proved to be a good addition, as the kids handled it well. The only recurring problem we experienced was the tight fit of the tiles in the slots, which resulted from the reduced clearances since I shrunk everything to 80% of the original size. In the next video, I will show you how I solved this problem and reveal all the tricks involved in printing the tiles on my mystery printer. Be sure to subscribe not to miss it. Until then, happy printing!